What is your name and how do you identify yourself?
Okay, I'm Lizzie and I identify as bisexual.
And how do you describe bisexual?
I would describe bisexuality as you don't really have a preference between both genders. They're sort of, you see them, like you're attracted to them as the same as you would to both, to be honest. Like,
Yeah, okay. At what age did you discover your sexuality?
I think the age where I sort of decided that this is what I identify as was probably about 14. Before then, I honestly thought that I was a lesbian because I wasn't 100% comfortable with boys nor girls, so I wasn't really sure. It was only when I came into 14, 15 that I was decided that no, it was both.
Okay. And how did you discover it? Oh, you kind of already explained, but is there like a real moment where you
um,
found out?
a moment where I sort of found out, probably from about the ages of 12, as soon as I entered secondary. I had decided that I was a lesbian because I had suddenly decided that girls were pretty good as well. So I thought, honestly, this is the only choice I have. I can't like guys if I like girls. And then I found out that you could be bisexual because one of my friends also identified as bisexual when she was about 13. And then she sort of explained it to me and I was like, oh no, I probably fit more into that category than anything else.
Oh, okay. And when did you come out to your friends and family?
Coming out, I didn't do it in a big dramatic, like spectacular jumping out the closet with like confetti and shit. What really happened was more like it sort of happened like that when I decided that I was gay the first time, when I said to my mum, I'm a lesbian, I'm so sorry. And she just didn't give a shit. She didn't care at all. But when I didn't really say to my family, I'm bisexual, I just sort of said, I have a boyfriend when I was about 18. And then now later on 18, I have a girlfriend. So I didn't really come out. They've just sort of assumed at this point.
Okay. And how did they react? Well, the first time when you came out as lesbian? How did your friends, and you said your mum didn't care, but how did your friends?
Yeah. I think my mum, I have a memory of the first time when I told my mum when I was 12 and I was in the car. I honestly don't think she meant anything by it. But when I told her I think I might be gay, I don't think she cared that much that I was gay, but she told me not to tell anyone. Simply because I went to a very Christian school and grew up in a Christian area. And I did have friends that didn't believe gay people should marry or have rights or go to heaven. So it was more like a protection thing than anything. And then when I was older and she was like, you're dating a woman, she just doesn't care anymore. Like.
That's great. And how did your life change? Did it change? Did you notice a change after you came out?
There was no real change after I came out. There are still people that I haven't sort of said to. I mean, I've told people, I've told like friends from back home and also friends here that I have a girlfriend, but I've never truly said outright that I identify as this. And there are still some people I wouldn't tell. That's really the only sort of change. Like, some people don't really speak to me anymore. It's not like I've lost close friends or close family. It's those people who are sort of acquaintances that you didn't really know, who are just, they just don't want to associate with you anymore.
Okay. And have there been people, have you ever met someone who's really ignorant and doesn't agree with your sexuality and so it's like, no, you're either a lesbian or you're gay, or you're straight?
Yeah. I grew up in a Christian area in a very, I wouldn't say wealthy, but an alright area with a lot of religion. And I went to nursery, primary, secondary, all very religious. So yeah, there has been a fair share of people who don't really understand, and there's been quite a lot of questions which are ridiculous. Like, some of the questions I get are sort of like, isn't it easier to pull on a night out if you have both choices? Like, oh, you must prefer one over the other. You can't just like both. It's that sort of thing, and it's not. I don't particularly like. It doesn't come from a hate. It comes from a place of not really knowing, because you're never really taught about what this is. I didn't know about it until I was 14. Like.
Yeah. Like my mom always says like, oh, if you're bisexual, like you're gonna cheat because you like so many people. I'm like, no. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I've had that one.
Have there been moments that you feel different or outside of society or different from your friends and family because of your sexuality?
Honestly, no. The people that matter, there's been no difference or no exclusion, and the people that don't matter seem to think that I don't matter either, so we just don't associate. So that's really been it, really. There's no real exclusion.
And can you describe the LGBTQ plus community?
I don't have that much experience with the LGBTQ community in all, simply because I don't attend gay pride. I'm not loud and proud and incredibly open. I'm open when asked, and I'd much prefer it that way. I do know of there being a little bit of conflict in the LGBT community between, it's going to sound so wrong, like people who are lesbian and gay, and then also bisexuality, because it can be seen as like, oh, you're just sort of messing around, or you're just experimenting. That's not really how you feel. And I've never experienced that firsthand. I've only heard of it, but I've never actually had experience, so I don't honestly know. I think the only person I've actually met at my secondary school who was gay, who's openly gay, that I was friends with, was lovely and amazing, but being gay didn't really change who he was or make him different. I mean, he did drag, but that doesn't really change who they were at all.
So, does it mean anything to you to be part of something bigger than you, or like a big community, or does it not really affect you in that way?
To be honest, it doesn't affect me in that way. It feels important that there are other people who are like me that I can identify with. Like, they might not be in my sight, but online and in the outer world they are there. And there are TV personalities, there are celebrities who do identify as something other than straight, and that's something that I would say is important, and that I would say influences me.
Yeah, I agree. Have you ever had a moment where you felt discriminated against, like a pinpoint moment?
I wouldn't say so. I'd say I've been pretty lucky that I haven't really faced any sort of harassment or hate. Like, ignorance I don't really see as hate. They're just asking questions, or they're just asking stupid questions. Like, one time I can remember where it wasn't hate, it was more of a place of disappointment, to be honest. One of the girls at my secondary school, who was very strictly religious, like very sort of like taking the Bible literally, said she wouldn't attend my wedding if I was gay. And she said, I'm sorry, I can't. And she was like slightly disappointed, like it was a shame that she couldn't attend my wedding. And I had never said anything about getting married to a woman anyway, but just in case I was, she just wasn't attending. That was a time where I thought, look, that's a bit left-wing, but all right, you have your feelings. That's really the only time I felt a bit sort of like, okay then, like, it's not me, it's really who I love that you don't like, which is a bit...
Yeah. And because of that, or because of the potential, like, disappointment, as you say, have you ever pretended to fit in, or like pretended to be someone that you're not, just to be on the safe side, to fit in?
Yeah, I would say I have. When you are younger and you first discover that you're not normal, it's very disconcerting. It's very, like, it comes out of nowhere. For me it did. I know people in the LGBT community who I've met here, because the Netherlands is so open about this, but who knew immediately, like when they were younger, when they were 3 years old, they decided they wanted to marry a boy or marry a girl, whereas I was much more like I had absolutely no interest in anyone until I hit 12. So it did sort of like hit me in the face like a brick. And growing up in an environment where that was always taught that it was wrong, it was very sort of, yeah, it sort of threw you off the path of what you were supposed to do and what you were supposed to think. So for a while, when it first happened, I decided that I just wasn't going to tell anyone. And when I did tell my mum, she said not to say anyone. It sort of like it re-added to what I was thinking in my mind. And when I told one person, they told everyone else, obviously. So after that, I just said, it's a lie, it's a rumor, it's not true. And I've only really decided that, okay, I'll start to tell people when I was about 17. Because then I was like, okay, I feel able to actually tell people.
Yeah, okay. Do you have any advice for people who are maybe struggling with their sexuality or having troubles with deciding, but like finding who they are and having those issues or those struggles?
In the media today, especially, we're definitely given mixed signals. There's no way that you can't tell me that it doesn't work like that. Like, we're given so many mixed signals of whether it's okay to be this or wrong to be that. And there are lots of, like, the letters on LGBTQ plus just keep growing as more and more people realize that they're not the normal. They don't fit into the normal. And I think it's really important that when you first discover that you're not straight or you're not like that you don't just decide that that's me, that that's what I am, if you don't feel comfortable with it. Because when you first look at something and you only see like two different options, like gay or straight, you don't understand that there's a hell of a lot more letters and like things that you could fit into. And it's definitely important not to just stick if you don't feel comfortable.